Welcome to the CEO Shift with your host, Shondell Spader, owner and CEO of Spader Group. In this series, you'll hear fast, focused conversations with business leaders and experts who've made the real shift it takes to scale past the plateau. Each episode delivers high-impact insights designed to help you cut through the noise, make smarter decisions, and lead with clarity.
Welcome to the CEO Shift. I am excited to be bringing Robin Edgar here with us today. She's a wealth strategist and chief exit officer with more than 35 years of industry experience and the founder of the full service brokerage office, Wealth Progression Group. Robin's expertise is rooted in a wide range of concierge level approaches from tax solution strategies and retirement planning to insurance products and compensation plans. She also offers accredited investors exclusive access to alternative investment that include multifamily housing, hospitality venture, oil and gas, industrial warehousing, infrastructure and commercial real estate, diversifying client portfolios for optimal growth and stability. Robin has successfully guided a diverse clientele, individuals, business owners, and corporation through the ever-evolving financial landscape. Robin, thank you so much for taking the time to be here with us today. I'm really excited to dive into being able to share and hear about your zone of genius and all the wonderful things you bring.
Thank you so much, Shondell, for inviting me. I'm really excited to be here.
Yeah, thank you. I guess I want to kick off with exactly that, right? I want to kick off with your zone of genius. I mean, every time you and I have a conversation, I learned so much from you. I mean, just from our little intro this morning before we hit the record button, right? Like I've got a quarter page of notes sitting here. So um, please do dive in and kind of share, that zone of genius where you really show up and make the most impact.
Yeah, thank you so much. So it's hard to kind of deduce it down into, as I say, one or two things, but from a CEO perspective, you're one, I'm one, and we're talking to a lot of those people. What I found over my years of experience of helping individuals and business owners go from beginning with the end in mind and trying to figure out, what are the next steps? What should I be doing? I think the chief executive officer kind of role that I'm filling now really is the culmination of what I've seen happen over the years. And when I look at the fourth quarter of my life and the team I'm building and the legacy I want to leave, I really see the baby boomers, as we were talking before, they've worked hard, they've built a business, and they're not really thinking with the end in mind of how am I going to sell this business, or if I've got the bulk of my money and my investments wrapped up in this business. They're not really thinking about they're putting all their money back into the business. They're not thinking about
Right.
how do I create that cash flow once I sell the business, whether it's to family or outside, it doesn't matter what that looks like. But I found that they just don't even know which questions to ask. Like, I don't even know who to turn to. And I describe it in the investment world as we kind of live our life in silos where, I'm thinking about my taxes, I'm thinking about my books, and I'm doing all of that. And then that takes a lot of effort to have those conversations. And then I go over here and I think about, how do I do my marketing? And how do I grow my business? And that takes a lot of effort. And we don't ever break down those silos and really strategically look at our overall business from a CEO level, which is top down, which is I shouldn't be doing everything. I need good people on my team. And for small to medium sized businesses, a lot of times you can't afford to hire full time the expertise that you need. And that's why I'm a big believer in, finding strategists and people out there that do what you do, that do what I do, that are fractional people. Most people don't need us 24/7. They don't need us 40 hours a week. They
Right.
need us to play a specific role, and that fractional word is one that we've seen a lot of people talk about. And I'm really, really encouraging business owners at whatever stage they're at, that it's worth the price. You pay for the education you get as a business owner one way or the other. So would I rather pay, kind of for the low level amount that I might need to pay for somebody that's just starting out or is younger in their career, which is fine. That
Right.
might be a good solution. Or do I really want to pay up and maybe get someone that has 20 or 30 years of experience, but I don't need them full time. I just need them maybe a few hours a month to really help me set the course and make sure I'm making the right decisions. And that
Right.
is probably the biggest thing I've seen, Shondell, over the last 5, 6, 7 years, especially as baby boomers are getting to that point where they need to figure that out. And,
Right.
and they just need quarterbacks sometimes, which is a role that I play with them to just help them even know who should I be talking to for these specific needs, because it's usually not one person that can help you with everything.
Right. Well, and I love the idea that you point out too, like you can hire one junior person who might be great, but they need a lot of handholding because they don't have the years of experience behind them. They can be very smart, they can be very dedicated, they can be very wonderful in all the areas, but if they simply don't come to the table with the knowledge base, they are not there. So then they're leaning on you. And we've seen a lot of clients who that's maybe how they started, right? They hired somebody in-house, they love the person, they're like family, all these great things, but the job wasn't getting done or it wasn't getting done well, right? They thought things were true that weren't. There's just a lot of missteps that can happen in that space, and then that leads to a lot of that confusion. And why am I not making any money? Or we're grinding, we're grinding, we're grinding, but we can't pay our bills. Why? And they're not able to see those things not because of the fault of that person, right? Like, just because they don't
Right.
have the expertise in that space because they just didn't have a long enough runway to be able to build that.
Correct.
So,
And I think it's the same. I just went to a program on AI, not that we're talking specifically on that, but it is a key thing. And I had a professor who is very knowledgeable about AI tell the group that I was in that, AI is really not a technology. It's more of a strategy and a kind of a creative intelligence we can use. And the higher level people that are more experienced, more wise, have more thought process about some of these things that we put in. And this is the way I describe it is you're going to get out what you put in. And that's part of what we're talking about, which is there's no way to build experience, wisdom, and knowledge other than just time, a lot of
yeah.
times. And so, AI is still going to be better with people that are older and more mature because our inputs are going to be way different than somebody that's young and doesn't have the years of experience. And that's an analogy that I've been using for the last week since that meeting I went to, because this guy kind of, as I say, took my head and kind of, made it explode and say that most
Yeah.
technology, younger people can be better at it. Doesn't mean they can't be good, but you're still, with all of the technology we have, the inputs are still going to be super valuable. And what it's not going to replace is strategic thinking. You can't replace
No.
that strategic thinking. You can replace the actual tactical pieces that people do.
Right.
You just can't, like he used an example of, and once again, not to offend, but you're not going to replace attorneys and senior partners, but you might replace some paralegals. And
Yeah.
that was an example that he used. He's a professor. And he's like, we might not need as many paralegals, but we still need people at the senior level that are helping people make those big decisions and those strategic decisions because AI and a lot of the technology isn't going to replace that. So that was just a little sidebar
Well,
that I learned last week that was very, very helpful and made me think about things differently.
yeah. Well, I love it's really that confirmation, right? It's confirming that while AI is coming in and it's super powerful, it we hear a lot of the chatter about it's going to replace this, it's going to replace that. All these levels are going to be obsolete, and they just aren't, right? It's more confirmation that they just aren't. You still need somebody to be able to put the first idea in there to have the conversation. I think it enhances all of us. Like, I've
Correct.
got 25 years of experience in this industry. You've got many years of experience in your industry, right? For those of us who have 5, we look at 5, we know a lot, but we know only so much, right? We only know what we've had that exposure to. That's one of my favorite things here is, we did a collective count of how many years of experience we have here on our team. We're over 150 years of experience just with our small little team. And it was
Mhm.
mind blowing, right? I'm like,
Yes.
We have 150 years of experience throughout our collective team, and it's in different industries, it's in different spaces. It was from really great examples, it was from failed examples, it was from, could have been failed examples worked through and finally made an achievement or, different ways. And it's just really cool to think about from a financial, bookkeeping, keeping things, together and functional in that space for business owners. It's really scary to be a business owner. You talked about silos earlier, and we kind of do silo ourselves into this. Like, I'm a business owner, I should have it all figured out. I can't let anybody in. And that's where that fractional kind of conversation comes in too, I think, right? Like, you can
Yes.
open the doors. You don't have to share with everybody. Like, I might not know what I'm doing over here, but fake it till you make it. It's like one of my least favorite sayings. Like, you don't have to fake it till you make it, but like, ask for the resources you need. So
There's
that's,
also, once again, there's a lot of topics that I think it's important for business owners to realize. I just might not be comfortable sharing everything I need to share with people that work for me.
yeah.
And it's not like I'm trying to keep it from them, but let's use HR as an example. A lot of times having a strategist from an HR perspective is I just don't know what to do, because you might have internal HR, you might have people on your team that are doing payroll, and that's all well and good. But if you need to really have a hard conversation around a certain employee that's not working out, or what do I need to do? What T's do I need to cross? What I's do I need to dot if I unfortunately need to, get rid of someone or put some on a PIP? The same with leadership development. Leadership development is not something that most companies do on their own. What from the inside, you can work on part of that if you're an EOS or different kind of strategies that you use on your team. But I see the most successful companies really doing a couple things, which is no matter how old your company is, begin with the end in mind, which is run your business every 12 months like you're going to sell it at the end of 12 months. If you think about that, just stop and take a thought process around, if I was going to sell my business at the end of 2026, what would I really need to be doing differently? I would need a fair market valuation. I would really need to think like a buyer. Like, if someone was going to come in and buy my business, what would they be looking for? How do I need to clean up my books or do my books differently, to really make sure that I'm showing things effectively in the way they are? Do I have the right people on the bus? Am I still too involved in the business on a day to day basis? How do I get myself out? Because if I'm a buyer and you're still the main person that's doing everything in the business, you're going to get a lot lower valuation. And it's probably not going to be culturally or leadership in a leadership way good for your staff, because if you step out and someone else steps in, that culture question comes up every single time. And I
Right.
just implore, business owners, what is your legacy? If you were to die tomorrow or sell your business in 2 years, or however your exit comes about, we're all going to exit one way or the other. How it kind of shows me how much do you care about your employees and your family and your legacy of what your business going to look like, is how much planning are you putting in? And now when we bring those fractional people in that are helping us answer those questions, now we get one good hire on the team that elevates the team and can kind of take me out of the picture. That makes the whole team feel more confident that if, Robin falls and hits her head and can't come in, or Shondell can't come in, can we still run? Are we a business that can still run without any one person on the team, but especially the business owner? And when we have those conversations and we get those fair market valuations for people, no matter what level they're at or what stage of their business they're at, once again, now I know what that number is. And usually with that, what happens, Shondell, is not only do we get the fair market valuation from those experts, which isn't me, but people that I work with, they're going to say, if
Right.
you do these three things in the next 2 years, your business is currently worth $5 million, could possibly be worth $10 million. And so if you could theoretically know that if you do these three or four things, you could actually double your revenue. And if you had to go out, I ask people all the time, I'm like, if you could spend 300,000 or 400,000 over the next few years by hiring strategic partners and fractional people that can come in and really support you and tell you what you need to hear, not what you want to hear. And that makes your business worth $5 million more. Is that a good use of your money? And obviously, you don't even have to be a mathematician or a math expert to know
Right.
that that can happen. And it kind of gives you the runway to say, how do I go from 2 million to 3 million, or from 4 million to 8 million, or from 500,000 to 2 million, whatever level you're at. And a lot of times it's just, you got to get out of your own way. You've got to hire those fractional people that have already helped other businesses do that. And then you also have to think about, how much money do you need to really run your home life? And so
Right.
that's my role, is really helping people get connected to those people, but also begin with the end in mind, is how much do I need to really get from this business after I pay the taxes and all of those things that happen to happen, to actually create a revenue stream that's equal to or above what I'm making today. And that usually, by starting with the fair market valuation and having that money talk in the beginning, it actually helps business owners to really fully say, yes, I think that can happen. That's a realistic number. That's a good number. Or more importantly, that is not a realistic number. I cannot live off of that. And so I need to really like reposition my thinking about what that exit looks like and who I need to bring in to help me maybe get to the level I need to be, so that I can sustain the lifestyle that I want once I'm no longer running this business full time.
I love the idea of bringing the exit in mind even at the beginning, right? Like it it puts, I mean, can everybody do like the super long-term goals? It might be a 20-year goal, right? And that's
Right.
fantastic. But over those 20 years, like that exit plan can develop and redevelop over and over and over again based on what you know today, 5 years from now, 5 years from then, all of those. So
And that's how
go
baby
ahead.
boomers felt. I am a baby boomer, and we were talking about that
Right.
before. Baby boomers, and I'm overgeneralizing, so I'm just looking at, my 35 years of experience of working with people in all different generational groups. We just went out, we built a business, we worked hard, we kind of just thought, this is our gig and we're going to do this until we can't do it anymore. Whereas if you drop down to the millennials, and the Gen X, they're building with, I'm going to build this for 10 years. I'm going to build it to sell it. And then I'm going to take my money and I'm going to go do something else. I maybe don't want to do the same thing for my entire life. And so we're reaching this crescendo point, in my opinion, with the baby boomers not thinking ahead enough about what that exit looks like. And at the same time, coming up right behind them is all these millennial Gen X that are saying, hey, I think I want to exit in the next 3 years, and go do something else. I just don't want to do the same thing my whole life. My legacy, or my thought of, how I can add value in the world, it looks different 10 years from now. And so um, that's what, actually building your business with an exit in mind, even not knowing for sure how long that is, because a lot of people get people coming to them and saying, I'd like to buy your business.
Right.
And if you haven't ever thought about what that is, or haven't talked to someone about what your fair market valuation is, and what that might look like, you're really setting yourself up to obviously, not really know what that is. If you go this next year and have a goal, I'm going to get a fair market valuation, I'm going to kind of put a timeline together of what that looks like. I'm going to find out what are the top 2 or 3 things that I really need to focus on in 2026 to really get my business moving in that direction of being worth, you know, another
Yeah.
30, 40, 50, or 100% above what it's worth today, the way it stands. Then when somebody comes knocking at your door, if they do, you're at least in the back of your mind knowing, oh, my business is worth 3 million, or it's worth 10 million, or whatever that level is, because somebody's actually done that valuation for you. That really doesn't cost that much to do. But the value that it gives you on here are the 2 or 3 or 4 things that you should really be focused on to really maximize the value and get that value even higher than what it's worth today. Because what it's worth today is one thing, but what do we need to do in the next 3 or 4 years to get it worth more?
Right. I love the I love the planning of getting there, right? I love the what does it take to get there? I just like being in that space because I feel like it's always fueling, it's always pushing us forward, it's always reaching that next level. And not that I can't be satisfied in a level, right? Like I think it's okay to also enjoy what you've accomplished already,
Correct.
but it just I don't know, for me, it feels like it's a different burn. It's a different burn of I'm building something. I started this business because I wanted to help business owners have a less scary experience in the business world. And while somebody's fantastic at building their widgets, getting it out there, even if they love sales, right? If they don't understand the back end, they don't understand the numbers and the financials of it, I don't care how confident they are in their product, their service, that is a weight on them that just it starts to show and it really takes a toll on a business owner. And so that was our goal, right? We wanted to come in and make that less scary, less heavy. And I think we do that. We come in and we organize these things, we make them more understandable, more digestible, but it's not just we put it together so that you understand it and it's ready for the IRS, right? It's we put it together so that you understand it and can make sound decisions based on
Right.
this. You know where your gaps are, you know where your wins are, you know where you can generate, a dollar the most rapidly you can in your business, and you know what activities are not generating those dollars. So then we have to decide, do we really love it? Is this a heart project? Or can we make this more profitable or, generate more revenue? And if we're really breaking those things down, that's to me where that background financial power comes from, because then they come meet with someone like you, Robin, and they have everything, right? And you can be more strategic. You get to dive in at a deeper level
Correct.
faster and help push them even further into that longer term planning when everything is really together here. So,
And I find a lot of business owners put all of their money back into their business, and I really
yeah,
try to strategically help them and help them to realize that no matter what they own, they should be doing their retirement plan, they should be doing outside investing, they should not be putting all of their money back into their business, because they need to be learning about what investments and how they work so that when I sell my business or get down the road, I have a better understanding of what does that look like and what kinds of things can I be putting my money in that will now generate the revenue to replace that income that I got from my business. And it's not how much you make, it's how much you keep. And people are not focused enough, in my opinion, as in my bio you mentioned. Um, looking at the tax, what types of investments could we use instead of our CPA, which I just had a story of a woman coming into me, got referred to me 3 weeks ago, and she's like, I have to pay 50,000 to the government in
mm,
taxes. And I asked my CPA, what can I do? And he's like, oh, just go spend it on marketing. And she's like, that doesn't make sense. Is there nothing else I can do? And then rightfully so, she's working with a different financial advisor and she's saying, I'm going to sell my business in 5 years. And she says, what kind of planning do we need to do now? Or what kind of investments? What is that going to look like? And they're telling her, you should expect to lose 50% of the value of your business. And she just, in her own mind, very smart business owners, like, there's got to be something else. Long story short, she talked to someone that knew me. She came in 45 minutes. It was like her head exploded because I had solutions for both of those things that people need to be considering about. Doesn't mean that everybody's going to do it, that it's the right fit for everyone. But I need the
right,
trusted advisors out there that are working with people from their specific angle to understand, the tax code and the opportunities and the opportunity zone, which is now permanent part of the code, and all of these different types of investments that I've worked with, hundreds and hundreds of people on for years, to help them minimize, reduce, or eliminate taxes based on the code. And there's no such thing as a loophole. There is actually code that says here
right,
are the things you can do, and the government wants you to be able to minimize your tax and maximize your education. It's up to you to be working with people that actually have those types of products available, because not every financial advisor is licensed to sell these types of things or has a broker dealer that can offer those. And so it's not to poke a needle that some can and some can't. But I have a 12 questions you should ask your financial advisor on my website, one of the resources that I built, because people are just not knowledgeable about what questions should I even be asking a financial
right,
advisor. And these are hard hitting questions like, what happens to my account if you die or retire? How do you get paid? How much of your personal money do you have in this same investment that I'm recommending? Those are just a few of the questions that really help people be more confident when they're walking into those situations to say, what are the questions I should be asking? And so I help business owners actually create their own list of what are the top 12 questions you think people should be asking you when they come
Oh,
in.
fun.
That helps differentiate what you do from other people. There are a lot of things that people are not asking. They're not asking the tough questions because they're like, oh, I don't know. I can't ask like how you get paid. And I'm like, really? You know, that's a fair question. It maybe doesn't need to be the
Right.
first question out of your mouth. Like, what are all the ways you do? And then who do you refer me to if you can't do this? And what does your trusted advisor network look like? And you know, and just those types of questions are really important, because I think a lot of people are getting sold things in a transaction, and you and I both
Yeah.
know that it's about strategy and it's about really long-term focus are the people that are gonna, you know, be good fits for people like you and me versus people that are just looking for a transaction. Because in
Right.
the end, um, you know, you have to think about if you're not here tomorrow, Mr. Business Owner or Mrs. Business Owner, you know, who's there to take over that? Is your
Right.
spouse equipped? Are they not equipped? Do you have people on your team that are equipped? And that's going to be a huge opportunity for you to have those trusted advisors around that you're really confident that your financial advisor, your accountant, you know, your bookkeeper, your CPA, whoever it is, those people know what to do, know what's going on, and are going to be able to be good assistants to your family, and your team to help them get through any kind of
Right.
unexpected T moment. Is what I call. We all come to these T intersections in life, and as business owners, we come to them probably almost every week where we can no longer go straight ahead. We have to make a right turn. We have to make a left turn. The ability for you to really make those turns in those T moments in your life when you're not sure which direction to go is going to be all about how many people like us, strategic thinkers, do I have on my team before that day happens. And then people can just call me and say, I have this issue today. Here's what the situation is. I already know about them. I know about what they're trying to accomplish. I know
Yeah.
the dilemmas they have in their life. I know the family limitations they have in their life, whatever that is. And I can help them to really think outside the box of, should we make a right hand turn here or should we make a left hand turn here? And you've got to
Right.
build those muscles, just like in working out. You've got to build those muscles before you need them. And I think building a strategic team of people like us that can tell them what they need to hear, not what they want to hear, is the most critical piece of what CEOs can
Absolutely.
get done today, and can be kind of their New Year's resolution as we're ending if we're as we're going into the end of the year. Who are those trusted advisor people that I need to get on my team, and I need to be on the phone talking to the people that I already have on my team that I know, like, and
Right.
trust, and say, who else should be on our team, Shondell? Who
Yeah.
else can help me? Because I know you can't do everything. I know, Robin, you can't do everything, but who are the other people that I need on my team to really help me grow this business, and maybe look
Yeah.
at a 30 or 40% growth rate in 2026 by just spending a few dollars and some time getting those fractional or those trusted advisors on my team, and bringing them up to speed.
Those are my favorite conversations to be a part of, right? Like when we get to bring all the experts into the room together and spend that time focusing on one business owner or partners, whatever it might be, and really helping them think outside the box, just think bigger, right? So, um, Robin, this has been absolutely fantastic. You are a wealth of knowledge. I always enjoy time together. How do clients, how do folks get in touch with you if they want to learn more about how to work with you and learn more if it would be a good fit?
Yeah. Thank you for asking. So you can go to LinkedIn, Wealth Progression Group, uh, and Robin Edgar. I have two LinkedIn um, um, areas that they can check it out. I have wealthprogressiongroup.com, which is my website. A lot of the tools, the 12 questions you should ask your advisor, I have a lot of short form videos on a lot of different topics, so you can kind of get some insight into the way I think. My chief exit officer role is really at robinedgar.net. So if people go to that, they're going to begin seeing a lot of videos coming out specifically for business owners on topics that I think are really, really important. And you can always just email me at robin.edgar@wealthprogressiongroup.com. And I'd
Excellent.
love to talk. There's no cost. Knowledge is never a disadvantage, is one of my favorite sayings. And there's a lot of us out here like this, Shondell, and the work you're doing here by putting this out is just excellent to help
Thank you.
CEOs just be like, I don't know what I don't know. And so who is it that
Right.
could maybe help me just take a step in the right direction? And I'm always open to having conversations and do free consultations with people about where they're at, what their questions are. And I might be a good fit for them, but I also have a huge, huge network of trusted advisors that I've built and done the hard work of really
Right.
finding people that I trust. Um, and that I know can help people and I can refer people to. And so I'm always happy to help people. It always comes back to you tenfold when you give out to other people. And I know that's the way you live your life. It's the way I live
Yeah.
my life. And just happy to help those CEOs or those business leaders that are looking for what are my next steps. Happy to chat.
Awesome. Well, Robin, thank you so much. I'm so grateful you took the time to be here with us today. And please definitely go to Robin's resources, check them out, and reach out to her as you have needs.
Thank you so
Thank
much,
you.
Shondell.
Take care.
Yep.
Thanks for tuning in to the CEO Shift. Ready to take your next step as a strategic CEO? Download our free 4-step CEO decision guide, the exact framework business leaders use to stop spinning their wheels and start scaling with clarity. Grab your copy at spadergroup.com/CEO-guide and start making decisions like a CEO today.